Let's explore the experience of sound, of hearing. You can treat this as a guided meditation in the sense that there's no need to memorize a process, no need to evaluate, no need to conceptualize at all. It's just a matter of following along, letting your attention move where the suggestion points and/or where it naturally moves. You don't even have to stand apart enough to decide whether you're moving your attention the right way, the wrong way, whether you're following exactly the suggestions. Those are just background thoughts. So wherever your attention moves, however your attention moves, however experience is experienced, however appearance appears, is already right. So we're letting immediate experience lead. How do we know the right experience? It's being experienced. Nothing more is needed. So let's just stay right with the immediate, which means this sound, which means the sound in the room, the background music, just that. Just let it be what it is. Let your attention come into contact with it. Let the sound come into contact with your attention. We're not pushing anywhere. It's a natural affinity. There's a natural affinity for attention and sound to be one, to intertwine, dance. So there's just the sound. We don't need to label broadly or specifically. We don't need to decide what kind of sound we're hearing. We don't need to decide whether we're hearing every sound at once or one specific sound. We just let the sound lead the experience. We let the sound be the entire experience. As we proceed, you may notice sounds that have already been there, but were sort of ignored or filtered out. That's perfectly okay. Just welcome anything that shows up. And you welcome it by just being the hearing, being the sound. You may notice at some point a hum or a mild ringing in the ears. It might even be more than mild. It might be about as loud as the rest of the sounds in the room. This is perfectly okay. This is the background sound produced by the hearing apparatus. You may notice a hum from a heating unit or an air conditioner or a fan that was previously filtered. This is perfectly okay, just as it is. That is the hearing. That is the sound. The hearing is the sound, and the sound is the hearing. There's nothing that needs to do the hearing. There's no decision to hear. Do you notice this? In the sound itself, in what is heard, there's no decision to be made because it's already heard. There's no labeling to be done because it's already heard. So we can stay this close. We can just be the hearing. We can just be the heard. Just that hum or hiss or static quiet in the air. You may start to perceive a silence that is not independent of sound. There's what is heard, and there is what never makes a sound. And those are not apart from one another. You might notice a natural interest or curiosity that appears with the hearing, with the sound. It's not an intellectual curiosity, it's a natural enjoyment of the aliveness of what is heard. You might even feel it, what is heard, from your toes to your head and everything in between. If this is not clear, just move your attention to the sensations in the feet, the tingles, pressure, warmth, dullness, in the toes, in the midfoot, in the heel. Just let those sensations be there. You might notice a faint mental image of a foot or a location in the body. That is a thought. When we recognize this and allow our attention to return to the sensation in its purity, you might notice it spreads. Maybe a little bit, maybe a lot. But the sensations may not be so localized now. They may be moving, fluctuating, undulating, or they may be still, but there's just the sensations. Now, gently notice also there's sensations in the face and head. The lips, the tongue, the midface, nose, eyes, forehead, the scalp, the back of the head. Just the sensations. Now we can let drop any mental image we have of a head and notice the sensations remain, perhaps a little less localized. Now, remaining with these sensations, we remind ourselves that there's also the sensations that were localized in the feet. You might notice now that they are a single cloud. Head sensations, foot sensations are only localized by a thought or an image. So there's just the sensations now. Free floating. Not contained, not in a specific place. You might perform this exercise with any other area of the body, the chest, the neck, the gut. This is particularly helpful if you're feeling a contracted energy. Start with the toes and the head, which we often leave out. Find this expansiveness, this free-floating experience of sensation. And then find it where the contraction seems to be. You might notice it loosening, less localized, more nebulous. Now, we're not trying to dissolve anything, we're exploring only. As we explore, we might notice the contraction center has a visual image to it, a mental image of a location, just as the feet or the head did. when we allow that mental image to drop or subside or loosen and return to just the sensations, you may notice them coalesce more into the body cloud, to the sensations outside the body, and eventually to the sound. Can you find where there's sound but no sensation in this sense cloud? Can you find where there's sensation but no sound in this sense cloud? Do you see how they're one? If we don't discriminate, if we don't use a mental image to imagine space or distance or compartments or locations. So the sound is the sensation, is the taste, is the forms, the visual experience, the colors, the shapes. Boundaries only exist in the mind, in thoughts. And they don't even really exist there. It's the reactive interaction between thought and pure sensation that makes the appearance of a boundary occur. But when we look close enough in this way, we see there never was actually any boundary. So just the sound, just the sensation, just where sensation and sound are not two. This exploration can be done at any time. Whether you're busy, whether you're laying in bed getting ready to fall asleep, whether you're meditating, whether you're gardening, it's always available.